Okay, Namo Buddhaya. So before we start, let us recite 3 times. Namo Tassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Okay. Very good afternoon. Namo Buddhaya. So today is the last class, of the part 1 Pali class. So our next part 2 Pali class will be started 1 month later. Okay. So for those interested to join the part 2, okay, you may just log in to your new WhatsApp group. Okay. So we consider once you log in, you're already accepted for the part 2. Okay. So all right. So we will look at these Atanatiya Suttas. Right, because this sutta is still very long. So again, this sutta will be continued in the part 2 as well, right? And we also will cover like the Ajaka Suttas, right, and Bojjhanga Suttas. So some of these suttas also quite important, right? So they are all included in our Parita chanting, right? So someone asked, yesterday, is there any other courses offered other than this part 2? You see, probably, who knows, we will continue part 3 again, right? But again, and we will also consider those for the beginners, and we will come back to the part 1 again, okay? So I think for the time being, we will focus at the Pali course. Of course, there are many things we learn from the Pali. Of course, like Brother Carl is teaching you a very basic grammars using this Pali Premier, right? So that Pali is also very good, Lily de Silva is built on, graduated level, but this Pali class, we focus more on the protective verses, right? So, okay. So I think most of you have heard of these Atanatiya Suttas, okay? So this sutta is found in the Digha Nikaya, right? One of the long discourse. And this is a very long suttas. The suttas here, in this Atanatiya Suttas, we particularly take from the the poetic part of it, right? The poetic part of it, which consists of spiritual protection, right, against the evil spirits, right? And of course, this suttas was presented by one of the king called Vesavana, right? Vesavana, one of the 4 great heavenly kings in the Chaturmaharajika. So, as this is in a very poetic verse, right? So it contains, descriptions, the verses, the reverie, the 7 Buddhas, right? The past Buddhas, and of course, extolling the virtues of the 4 great kings and the respective kingdoms. Okay, so. And of course, this sutta was presented by one of the king, Vesavana, to the Buddhas. And at the end of the suttas, then the Buddhas, gave, sanction, approval, to this king, right? To this king, and of course, addressed to the monk said, okay, be cool. Right, you learn this Atanatiya Suttas, right, Paritas, and you master it and you remember it. Okay, so this is the first part of it. So now in the Theravada tradition, this sutta is also chanted by monks, especially for protection of these evil spirits. And in the commentary of these Atanatiya Suttas, right, it says that when the Buddhas, okay, when anybody possessed by a yaksha, okay, yaksha, I don't know whether you know this yaksha, but if yaksha, of course, this is a yaksha, Pali is called yakka, Sanskrit is called yaksha, right? And there's no appropriate translation in English, but of course we can say it's just a spirit, right? And this yaksha is what we call a non-human, right? Amanusa, a non-human. They appear in the like half human, half god, yeah. But their appearance, most of the time you look at, the suttas or in the pictures, you see they appear in a very fearful manner, face, yeah, like ghosts, like ghosts. Huh? So it says that if someone harassed by the yaksha, then there are several protective, the paritas to be chanted. Of course, it says that Atanatiya Sutta should not be immediately chanted, right? Of course, if someone possessed by these spirits, there's Metta Suttas, okay, Dajaka Suttas, okay, and the Ratana Suttas. These three suttas should be first recited. And for how many days? It says 7 days, okay? So you must chant these three suttas, for 7 days. Of course, if you were to chant these suttas, you had to invite, right? Invite this non-human to come and listen, right, to the suttas, okay? Then, of course, if the victim who were arrested by these spirits, if they were released by then of course it is good, right? If not, then after 7 days, if they still don't want to, to go away, right, then these Atanatiya suttas, be recited. Okay, so this is what the commentary says, and I find it very interesting because commentary is a letter work, right? It says that, bhikkhu involved in the chanting should not eat meat. Okay, should not eat meat. They should be vegetarian. And of course, it also says that monks should not eat food that made of the powdered grain. Okay, so even the powdered grain is not allowed. I don't know why, but anyway, it says like that. Yeah. Then, okay, so and the most interesting is that it said the place of recitation, should be made clean. Okay, by smearing, right, the cow dung. Okay, I think so. This one, because in India usually cow, is considered as what they call the manifestation of God, so considered as very what they call this, very spiritual, right? So they said that if you want to make clean, you have to make clean the area by smearing the cow dung first. And then the bhikkhu sit on a clean seat. Okay. Then the commentary also further said that, okay, say like if a lay people was harassed by this non-human, right, non-being, right, then the monks are involved in this chanting. They should recite with loving kindness, right, loving kindness. And he also further said that, the people, okay, surrounded, the monk chanting should arm with the wooden weapon and seated in the room with all the doors and windows closed, right? So this is something, strange to me. Okay, so before reciting these Atanatiya suttas, okay, then the victim should first be established, right, in the 5 precepts, okay, before the recitation. Then of course we have to light the candle, is offer the flowers, etc. To the Buddhists, okay? And then afterwards, then you can start reciting the Atanatiya suttas. Then, very interesting part is that it said for monks who recite these Atanatiya suttas, right, an announcement should be made, for all the bhikkhus, to be assembled there. And then we have to make an announcement. Way to make an announcement, it says that you make an announcement, to a tree, and then surrounded the temple. Usually, these non-human beings, right, they would stay in the tree, surrounded the tree. So you should announce to the big trees, right, the biggest tree around the monastery, that you say that, okay, you said now the Bhikkhu Sangha waiting for your coming, okay, please come, right? And of course, if the monk has made such an announcement, then the devils, cannot say they don't want to come. You see, they cannot refuse to come because the monk has made an announcement and all the people have gathered there. Okay, so then afterwards, the victim, right, who is possessed by this non-human, then should be asked by Bhikkhu Sangha. He said, then Bhikkhu Sangha should say, who are you? Okay, to the victim. Then, if the spirit, then the spirit should reveal, right, its name, right? Then the Bhikkhu Sangha has to reply, say, okay, so and so, right? So I'm going to chant these suttas for you, right? So this is a gift, right, for you. Okay. Then out of respect for the Bhikkhu Sanghas, right, please release this person, means that this victim. So if, say, the victim, right, still say that if the article, if this non-human being, right, does not release, say for example, release this victim, then the monk should inform to the devas. Okay, inform to the devas. Okay, then you can say like, okay, please be informed that this yaka being, right, who is harassing this victim does not listen to our words. Okay, then the monk we shall impose the the Buddha's authority. So this is a very scary message, because if the victim doesn't listen to the monk's message, releasing this victim, then this non-human, okay, this yaka will be severely punished by the king Vesavana. Okay, so this is basically the chanting is all about. So nowadays, these Atanatiya suttas, right, is to be learned and chanted by Buddhists, right, who desire protection, right, freedom, from all these yaka being. Of course, this nowadays, of course, you can recite these paritas at any time, right? So need not to follow all the procedures recommended by the commentary. Okay, so now we shall look at these suttas. Okay, so before we start, we will chant the suttas, okay, together. And of course, since we were talking about the four great kingdoms here is the four great kingdom. Okay, but this is, of course, is a Chinese version of these Chaturmaharajikas. Okay, you look at these four great kingdom, each kingdom responsible for controlling certain non-humans. For example, you look at this the king Datarata, right, who holds a mandolin, right? It's like something like music instrument. Yeah, he's responsible for the eastern direction, and then he controls the Gandhabas. Okay, so I think you know what is Gandhabas, right? He's a celestial devil, a musician. But again, this word is still very controversial, right? And someone say it's something else, but whatever it is, Gandhabas in this context here referred to the celestial devil, deva, musician. Okay, and the king Virupaka, okay, in the western direction, right? You see, he holds what, a snake, right? Snake, and of course he controls the nagas. And the third, the king Viruhaka, right, in charge of the southern direction. He holds a sword, okay, a sword, right, and controls the what they call the Kumbhandas, Kumbhandas, a types of beings, okay, in the lower realms. Or someone said that it could also be referred to a blessed ghost, okay, blessed ghost. And the north direction is the king Vesavana, all right? Just now we have talked about this king, right? So this Atanatiya suttas was presented to the Buddhas by this king Vesavana. Okay, so he is responsible for the northern direction. You look at him, he holds the umbrella, right, and controls the yaka. Yeah, you look at the word yakka. Okay, so if you look at the word yakka, okay, no, these four beings, right? Like Gandhabas and Nagas and Kumbandas and the Yakkas. These four beings, they were called non-human beings. Okay, and they were what we call earthly devas. It means that they are, semi, half human, half gods. Huh? That's why the Chinese word has a very interesting word, like they call it 鬼神鬼神. It means that half 鬼, half 神. It means that they are not really devas, but they are not really human. You see, so it's just in between devas and human. You see, they are also just like us. You see, born due to their karma, and they also, if say like they listen to the Buddha's teaching, right? They can be a very good non-human being and protect us. Okay, and of course, they can be also a very evil non-human. That's why this evil non-human, they attack us. Okay, so this is a tradition law from the ancient times till now. So since in our Buddhist tradition, if we chant, we also invite them to share, the merits. Okay, so that they will depart happily and protect us. Okay, and okay, so now. So here is a shorter version, right? But it's good enough. Huh? So you can see that they are consist of a very short verse in the poetic manner, right? In the short the verse, revering the seven Buddhas, extolling the the virtues of the four great kingdoms, four great kings. Okay, so we can recite. Vipassis namato cha kumanta sasiri maton Sike sapi namato sabbabuddhano kampino Vesabhusa namato nahataka satapasino Namato kakosat dasamarase napamadino. Kohon gamanas namatu brahmanas vusimato. Kasapa sachanamatu vipamutas sabadi. Angirasas namatu sakya puttasa sarimato. Yo imang dhamma dese sisap badoka panodanam. Ye chapini buddha loke yata buddha vipasisom. Te jana api sunat mahanta vita sarada. Hidang deva manosana yang namasanti gotamam. Vijacharana sampana mahantang vita saradam. Ete chanye cha sambuddha aneka satakotiyo. Sabbe buddha sama sama. Sabbe buddha mahidika. Sabbe dasa balupeta vesaraje upagata. Sabbe te patijananti asabaldanamotaman. Sihanadanadanti te parisa suvisarada. Brahmachakam pavatenti loke apativatiyam. Upeta buddha dhammehi atarasahinayaka. Bhati salakanopeta asitanubhyanjanadara. Vyama Pabhaya So Pabhasam Behete Muni Kunjaram Buddha Sabhanungyo Ete Sabekina Savajinam Mahapabha Mahateja Mahapanya Mahabhalam Mahakarunika Dira Sabesana Sukavaha Dipanata Patita Cha Tana Lena Cha Paninam Gati Bandhu Mahesasa Sarana Cha Hitesino Sadevakasa Lokasa Sabete Parayana Te Sahasrasa Pade Vandami Purisotame Vachasa Manasa Cheva Vandami Te Tathagate Sayane Asane Thane Gamane Chapi Sabada Sada Suke Nara Kantu Buddha Santikaratuam Te Tuarakito Santo Moto Sab Babaye Hichen Saparoga Vinimoto Sapasanta Pavajito Sapavermati Kanto Nibuto Chatuang Bhavan Te Sangsachena Silena Kanti Meta Balena Chen Tepi amhe anurakantu arogena sukena chen Purati masmi disabhage santi bhota mahedika Tepi amhe anurakantu arogena sukena chen Dakinasmi disabhage santi deva mahedika Depi amhe anura kantu arogena sukena chen Pachimasmi disabhage santi naga mahedika Depi amhe anurakantu arogena sukena chen Ottarasmi disabhage santiyaka mahedika Depi amhe anurakantu arogena sukena chen Purati mena datarato dakinena verohako Pachimena veropeko kuvero otaradisam Chatarote maharaja lokapalaya sasino Depi amhe anurakantu arogena sukena chen Akasata cha bhomata devanaga mahedika Depi amhe anurakantu arogena sukena chen Idimando cha jedeva vasanta idhasasane Depi amhe anurakantu arogena sukena chen Sabeteo vivajantu sab sokorogo vinasatu Mate bhavadvantaraya sukhe degayoko bhava Abhivadana silesane chamvada pachayino Chattaro Dhamma Vadanti Ayuvano Sukham Balang. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay. So as you can see that this is a shorter version, right? And okay, so we start with Vipassisa Namatu Chakumantasa Srimato. Sikhi Sapicha Namatu Sabha Buddhano Kampino. Okay, so you can see that here start by saying, referring to the 7 past Buddhas. Okay, so you look at the 7 past Buddhas, they were all mentioned here. And Vipassi Buddhas, Sikhi Buddhas, right? Yes, here the first 2, and you find other Buddhas. Yeah. Okay, so and this, as we have said, in many classes before, right? We said that this kind of many Buddhist concept were influenced by the later Buddhist thought, right? And especially if you look at the Khuddaka Nikaya, in the minor collection, right? I hope you understand what I'm saying. Khuddaka Nikaya. You look at the Pancha Nikaya, the 5 collection, okay, 5 collection of suttas. You find a long discourse, medium discourse, right? Digha Nikaya, and the Majjhima Nikayas and the Sarta Nikayas, right? And Anguttara Nikayas. And the last one, right, is called the Khuddaka Nikaya. And in the Theravada Sri Lankan version, there are altogether 15 books, okay, 15 books. So, but in the Myanmar tradition, there are 18 books, okay? So, under these 15 books, right, Buddha Vamsa, right, the text called Buddha Vamsa is about the chronicles of the Buddhas, belong to the later period, right? So under this Buddha Vamsa describes, 28 Buddhas, right? 28 Buddhas, including the present Gautama Buddhas, okay, as 28 Buddhas. So these 7 Buddhas were counted, okay, from the 22, yeah, started from the 22 Buddhas up to the 28. So the last one is the Gautama Buddhas. Okay, so sometimes you find the 7 Buddhas, or sometimes you find the 28 Buddhas, or sometimes you find 35 Buddhas, and eventually when you come to the Mahayana Buddhism, right, innumerable Buddhas. Okay, so definitely this concept of Buddhas, was later influenced. But of course, under these Buddha Vamsas, right, chronicles of the Buddhas, you do find, their bodhisattvas, struggling to become the Buddhahood. All the stories. Okay, so here you look at this Namatu, right? So this is the compound, right? You look at it, it's Namo and Atu. Okay, so you have to split it. So if not, you don't know what this is Namatu, right? So you have to split it. So learning Pali, you have to learn how to split the Sandhi. Of course, you find it not easy for a beginner, but it's okay. You are guided, by the teacher. Okay, so so we split it. Namo Atu. Okay, so the Namo we have seen many times, right? This Namo is a neuter, right? Nominated singular is from Namas, right? So it means the salutation. And the Atu is imperative, third person singular, right? So the normal present third person singular is called the Ati, right? But here is imperative, okay? So from the root as, to be or exist. Okay, the Chakumantasa. Okay, the Chakumantasa is from the Chakuman, right? And I think in our moral suttas, yeah, we come across the Chakuma as well, right? But in that context, the Chakuma referred to the sun. Huh? But in these suttas, Atanatiya suttas, right? Here the Chakuman, imply another meaning, right? Possessing eyes of wisdom. So the Chakuman is from the noun Chaku, right? When you add the man, right? Man, this is what we call the possessive suffix. There are several possessive suffixes, and other than man, you have the van, okay, van, and then you also have the in, also in form. Yeah, there are several forms. You see, usually these nouns they have their own gender. Okay, they have their own gender. Once you add this, this possessive, okay, suffix, it become an adjective. So once it become an adjective, it has no gender anymore. So it become an adjective. Then you can easily, qualify, this adjective to a noun. So in this case, the chakumantasa here is a masculine. Okay. Otherwise, the chaku is like a neuter gender. Once you make it a chakuman, right, in this context, right, it become an adjective, so you can qualify, with the the noun. Okay, so I think you also know the word the Bhagavan, right? We have seen the Bhagavan referred to the blessed one, right? The Bhagavan is also from the noun Bhaga, the fortune. Okay, fortune. When you add the vat, right, it's also possessive suffix. It become one having a fortune, so it's a fortunate one, right? So yeah, Pali or Sanskrit also like that. Once you understand, that's why the importance of recognizing the ending part of a word, right? Then it's easier. So you have to learn Pali like that, learn Pali intuitively. Okay, so okay, so this Chakuman, right? Chakuman Tasa is genitive. Here the meaning like possessing eyes of wisdom. Okay, so Sirimato is also a possessive suffix added man to the word Siri. Siri means the glory. Right? When you add the man, here is a possessive suffix possessing glory. Okay. So Sabba Bhuta Anukampino, right? So this is long compound, right? Consists of three members. Sabba Bhuta Anukampino. If you look at the Sabba Bhuta, right? This is a whole compound is determined by the last number. Okay. So in this case, you look at the Anukampino, it's from Anukampa. Anukampa. Okay, so Anukampa is a compassion. Okay. So when you add the IN, Anukampin, Anukampa, this A replaced by IN, this is also to make it a possessive. So it's another form of possessive noun, you add the IN to make it an adjective. Okay, it means that having compassion. So I mean compassionate. Okay. So this is how you look at it, right? It's Anukam. So once you have this Anukampi, then you can follow the declension of the noun ending with IN. That's why you have Anukampino. So this Anukampino is a genitive. So it's, maybe it's a bit difficult for a beginner, but it's okay. I'm very scared, students, when they study my class, they find it very, very difficult. Of course, our life has no ending in learning like anything. So don't be scared of this language. So our life is, the process of continuous learning. So you understand this, then who knows? They increase your wisdom, yeah? Okay. Okay, now. Okay, now we analyze. Analyze. So this is a style of structures that usually you find in the Parita chanting, as we have seen, in earlier Paritas, right? The style and the structures also of similar kind, right? So you have the namatu. So first you look at the verb, right? Up to. So it's a third person singular, right? So you're expecting the subject is also in the nominative singular. Okay. Here the namo, the salutation. Okay. So atu mean Um, okay, what else? You see namo. You see namo, it's from the ending namas. Okay, namas. Yeah, if you look at the declension, right? Declension of the noun, there are altogether about 17, different ending. So namas is one form, man is one form, one is one form, in is one form, you see? Okay, and the vipassana is a genitive, but here usually we translate in the dative sense, okay, two. So here is enclitic, right? Enclitic, it means that aim, right? So it's enclitic. And the chakumantasa is also genitive, right? So you can see that chakumantasa, why it is in the genitive, because it qualifies the vipassana. Vipassana is in the masculine. If it is a chaku is a neuter, right? If it is a neutral, you cannot qualify the vipassana. That's why you have to add the man, possessive, in order to qualify with the vipassana, in the gender. Okay, so. And then they have Sirimato is for Siriman. Okay, it's also qualified the vipassana. So you see, it's very beautiful. You see, once you understand this, you see, in fact, the same also can be applied to the rest of the Parita chanting. Okay, so this is translation. Let there be homage. Let there be is because of attu, right? It's imperative. Let there be homage to the vipassana. Okay, Buddha, who possess of eyes of wisdom, who possess. You see here an adjective describing the vipassana, who possess of the eyes of wisdom and glory. So you can see that all these things describing the vipassana. That's why you see they agree with their gender, with their case, and with their numbers, right? So this is a beautiful translation. It's very literal, right? So let there be homage to the vipassana Buddhas who possess, who is because I show this, who is because an adjective, right? Possess of the eyes of wisdom and glory. Okay. Next, Sikisapi, you see the structure also more or less the same. And then the ch here is also enclitic. That's why in your translation you can just put n, but it's not necessary. So usually you have the ch and ch, or you can just a. It's just like a ch, b ch. It's like a and b. Okay. So in this case, let there be homage to the vipassana Buddhas who possess of the eyes of wisdom and glory, and okay, and continue. Then, yeah, the rest also similar. Or Sikisapi too. You see the Sababhuta Anukampino. Here we have all the man ending, right? And here we have the in ending. Okay. And this Anukampino is for Anukampa. Okay. Anukampin is for Anukampa. Huh? So here is a compound. Sabba means whole, Bhuta means being, right? Bhuta, being. Okay, you see this one objective to Sikisapi. So again, if you look at this compound, you have to interpret this compound, right? Because this consists of three members, right? So again, if you want to translate the compound, you have to understand the teaching and understand the context. As we remember, in the first class we talked about 4 types of compound, right? Basically, of so many compounds, you can summarize them into 4 types of compound, right? One type of compound is a genitive type purusha, right? For example, it's like B of A. If a compound consists of member of A, B, okay, A, B, 2 numbers, right? The genitive would be like B of A, okay? So then you also have the dual compound like A and B, okay? And also you have like the bahuvrihi is an adjective describing A, B, an adjective to a noun outside, right? And also you have another compound, it's called kamadharya, right? You can say that A itself is B. Okay, so this is kamadharya. So once you understand, these 4 types of compound, then you can just easily fill all the gap. Okay, so this is what I have learned Pali and Sanskrit for a number of years, and I summarize them, into these 4 different types of compound. Okay. So you see, my understanding is a great compassion towards all being, right? Great compassion towards all being. So, so this is also a matter of interpretation. Okay, the great compassion towards all being. Huh? Otherwise, how you want to translate? Are you going to translate like compassion of all being? Not necessary, yeah? So again, you interpret it. Okay, now we look at the second verse. Vesabhu, so this is the third and the fourth Buddhas. Okay, Vesabhu, right? Namatu. These are also same structures. Okay, except this one you don't have church. Of course, it's because they follow certain metric form. The church you cannot put it in. But anyway, it's understood. Okay, here's one of the Buddhas. Number 2 is Namoatu, right? Nahata kasa, right? Right? It's a past participle, right? Nahata, right? Nahataka. Okay. Yeah, you see all the participle used as an adjective. So it's from the roots na. Yeah, but of course, it's rarely you find an ahatakasa. Yeah, this form is also appear in the chanting. Yeah, but it's quite rare. But it also is correct. Yeah, so you have to understand these two forms. Nahatakasa, nahatakasa, same form. But you cannot say it's wrong. This form is also correct, but it's quite rare. So C is adjective and it's PPP. So you can translate of one who has. Here has bath. It shows you that this is a participle form. Okay, or one who has washed away all defilements. Okay. Yeah, one who has. So adjective, you are describing that person of Vesabhu, right? Who has washed away all defilements. Okay. No, namatu kakusandahasa. You see that also for me also change. That's okay. You see, so need not to be so rigid. It must be the subject, object, verb. You see, you can have anywhere, right? That's why in our learning of Pali, right, you have to recognize which one is verb, which one is noun, which one is subject, which one is object. Okay, so you need not to bother so much about the order. And tapasino. Okay, look at tapasino. Tapasino is like earlier we have seen that it's tapasa when you add in. Okay, tapasin, right? It means that one devoted to religious authority. You are referring to that person having. Okay, it's just like the paka. Paka means the wind, right? When you have a pakin, it means that having wind. So you are referring to bird, like that. Okay. So tapasa, tapasa means austerity. So when you have it in there, so you are referring to that person, very devotedly, committed to the religious austerity. Tapasi. Okay, then Mara Sena. Okay, Pamadino is a compound of Mara, Sena, Pamadino. It's three members. Okay, you have to look at Mara is the evil one. Sena means army. Okay, but the whole compound is determined by the last number. Okay, determined by the last gender. Here the Pamadin is it's a masculine. Okay, so Pamadin means able to crush or very powerful. Okay, or the mighty. Okay, so now we analyze. Okay, same also. Number 2, okay. Vesabu, genitive, nahatakasa. That is a PPP, yeah, adjective, but describing the Vesabu. And tapasino. Okay, also adjective. You can see the structure is very similar to the preceding ones. You have two forms, and then here is a compound, is it? Right. And this compound consists of 3 members. So they make up the meter, the syllable. And let there be homage to the Vesabu Buddhists. Okay, Nahatakasa, who has watched away all defilement. I mean, this is very literal, right? Watch away. This is very poetic form, or you can just who has abandoned, if you want to translate, but we keep literal meaning. Who has watched away all the defilements, and who possess. Here the possess means having, right? Good ascetic practices. Okay. Good ascetic practice. So, of course, this is an interpretation. It means that he really, practice, ascetic practice. So the possessing is reflected in this I-N form. Okay. Otherwise, you will just like look at the tapasa. Tapasa is just a noun, right? So then you cannot translate like that. So you have to add this in order to show who possesses a good ascetic practice. So this is reflected by the in form. Then Namo Atu Kakusanda. I still heard Sandi, right? Namo Atu Kakusandasa. Same thing also. Yeah. Genetic. They are also genetic. They all agree, you see, ejected to this. So let there be homage to the Kakusanda Buddha. Okay. Then Amadino, who has defeated the army, Sena of Mara. Okay. So yeah, it's very straightforward. So that's why, it's another important aspect in the Pali is the interpretation of the compound like this. Compound like this. So it's very free to render the meaning, right? Who has defeated the army of Mara. If you look at English like this, it's very hard to determine the types of compound, right, in the Pali. So that's why when you look at this kind of compound, you are freely to interpret it. Yeah. So who has defeated the army of Mara? It's very, very stylish. Yeah? Okay. Right. Kona gamanasa namatu brahmanasa usimato. Right. Kasa pasacha namatu vipamutasa sabadi. Okay, so this is also the code Konagama is one of the Buddhists, and Kassapa is also one of the past Buddhists. Right here is the 5th and the 6th Buddhists, past Buddhists. And then you look at their qualities. Brahmanasa. Brahmanasa, we know how Brahmana. Of course, the Brahmanas, if the noun itself refer to the highest caste of the Indian, the Indian got 4 caste system. And the highest caste here refer to the Brahmana. And then you have the second caste, is called the Sastriya or Khattiya. And the third, Vaishya in Sanskrit, and the Vasa in Pali, the third class. And the last one is called the Sudra. Sudra in Sanskrit, Pali is called Suddha. Right? So you got these 4 classes. But of course, the Buddha, okay, rejected this 4 caste system and treated, men are equal. There is no, one superior than the other. But of course, in the Indian context, the Buddha also cannot avoid not using, this term. But in the Buddhist context, the Brahma here referred to the noble, to the noble caste. Not referred to the leading a pure life. Okay, leading what they call a good life. Okay, or leading a very chastity life. Okay, living. So that is also in Buddhist context, Brahmana referred to. And the Usimato, okay, Usimato. This word is a bit controversial because, of course, if you look at the Usimato, it's from the Usiman. We have seen this, those with man ending, okay, man or man ending from the Usi, okay, and the dictionary say perhaps also from the Wasiman also, right? So at the end it said that Wasiwat, this Wasawati is also equal to Usitawan. So anyway, there are words like this. So it's not that difficult to understand. In fact, the Pali is a form of Prakrit, right? And it's like a local, the dialects that used in different region of India. You see, so you find, these words Prakrit, differ from one village to another. But somehow, when in the compilation of these suttas, you find of this kampong style of slang also crept in our chanting. That's why someone said that this Wusiman, you cannot find it, but this Wusiman is perhaps is also from the Wasiman. You see, so it says that this Wusimato is one who has reached perfection. So here refer to an arahant. You see, so yeah, some kind like that. So we cannot say that Wusimato is wrong, right? And that's because Pali is a form of Prakrit, so you find a lot of this irregular form in the Prakrit language. Some says, that's why in Sanskrit is perfect language, because if you look at the Sanskrita, right? Sanskrita means perfect language. You see, it's a perfect language. So in this perfect language, you don't find this kind of these irregularities, right? But whereas in the Prakrit or Pali, you find this kind. Yeah, this is a very good example. Okay, Vipamutasa, right, is from the Vipamutta. Okay, so this is a PPP form. With the mutta means the release. Right? It's from the root much, right? So Vipamutasa, pamutta, vi. So it's a release, right? Release. So it's of the release. You look at the genitive. And sabadi, it's a verb in every respect. Okay. So it's just so we have seen this Brahmana also. Just so I said, Brahmana here not referred to the highest class, okay? But here the Brahmana in Buddhist context referred to a person who lead a pure life, right? So here in the case also referred to an arahant, okay? And you look at this Wusimato also refer to an arahant who has reached perfection. So these two qualities are referred to in the Konagamana. Buddha. Okay. Okay, so yeah, same, right? Number two, so I just skip it, right? So Brahmanasa is adjective, so you have seen this already. Wusimato also genitive, right? So here's translation. So let there be homage, right, to Konagamana Buddha, who has reached perfection. Okay, Wusimato. Anyway, I changed the order. You can say that who has lived a noble life, Brahmanasa, and who has reached perfection, right, in just living. Okay. So is it difficult? Not that difficult, isn't it? Not that difficult. So you see, once you understand all this grammar, the forming of this, the noun into adjective, things like that. Once you understand the case ending, okay, the case, then the rest, what you need is just to refer to dictionary. Just refer dictionary. So, okay. So kasapasa, right? Same thing also. You have this vipamutasa. Okay, refer to kasapa, and the sabadi is an adverb. So here is a translation. There be homage to kasapa Buddha, who is free, right? Vipamutasa, who has freed from defilements. Yes, understood. Free from defilements in every respect. Sabadi. Okay. I hope you get it. Okay. And then we look at another one. Okay, it's tired for you. If not, then we continue another verse. So here's the 6 Buddhas. So when I look at this style, these structures, it's very similar to the Sanskrit style, because long ago I have translated many Sanskrit mantras into Chinese, okay? And I deal with a lot of these, these grammars. When I look at this Pali style, it's very similar to the Sanskrit, in terms of the mantra chanting. So, yeah, because we are dealing with the Parita chanting, you see, this form is very similar to the Sanskrit. If you look at the Sanskrit mantras, right, also deal with this kind of homage. Let there be homage to so and so, and then followed by an adjective to it, So, so it's quite similar. Okay. Angirasas namatu sakya puttasa serimato. Okay, here the last one. Angirasa. Angirasa, right? What is the meaning? Here is a genitive, resplendent one. Okay, of course, here refer to the Buddhists. So the resplendent one. Serimato, we have seen this, right? Having, possessing glory, right? And okay, and of course, the Sakyaputta is also adjective to this. So you're saying that the resplendent Sakyaputta. Okay. And then the yo, imang, dhammang, desesi, sapa dukkha, dukkha, panudhana. Yo is a relative pronoun. He who, okay. Desesi is a verb, right? Aorist, from the root dish, mean to point out. So desesi means he preached, that person. So the subject is understood, okay? Means that refer to the Sakyaputta. And Sabbadukkha, right? Apa nudahana. So this is a compound. Look at this. Here the long A. Apa. Dukkha. Apa nudana. Okay. So you have to learn like that. You split them so that you can see them clearly, right? So, and what is this? Apa. You know this sabba. Sabba means all, right? Dukkha means suffering, right? Very general translation. Yeah, but usually I would like to translate, dukkha as unsatisfactoriness. It's not that really suffering at all, because I don't want, the Buddha's teachings, appear to be suffering all the time, right? But it's a form of unsatisfactoriness, form of unsatisfactoriness. Otherwise, Buddhism will look very pessimistic at all time. Buddha's teaching talk about the suffering, as if, we live a very suffering world. But this is not the case. So anyway, I just keep the suffering because I don't want to make things complicated. But of course, in my serious research, I will just write as unsatisfactory. So apanudana is an accusative. Right here, preach what? Preach this. Okay, so it's a removal of all suffering. Okay. Okay, so here, explanation. Yeah, you see this? So Sakyaputtas and the Serimato. So let it be homage to Angirasa Buddha, or you can just translate like resplendent Buddhist. Okay, the Buddhist. Who is the son of the Sakya here? You see, the Buddha also has another name, Angirasa Buddhist, right? But it's okay, you need not to worry so much. Who is the son? Sakya Buddha. Buddha means the son of the Sakya, right? And glory. So we are son of the Buddhists, right? And that's why in Chinese we have the word like Samen Shizi, Shizi. You see, or the Mahana, they use the surname called Shi, Sijiang Moni for Shi. It means that, once they become a monk, they follow the Buddha's name also. They follow. So that's why we call ourselves the Sakya Buddha. We are the son of the Sakya Muni. Okay. And okay. They say sit your verb, right? So you're he who preach, okay? Dhamma, this Dhamma, right? This is a pronoun, right? Adjective, this Dhamma. He who preach this Dhamma, okay? And And then this one, the whole compound is adjective to the Dhamma. Okay, you see? Then here, he who preach this doctrine, for now, this doctrine, which is the removal of all suffering. Okay, so you see, it's very literal. Okay, it's very literal. Okay, so yeah, before we continue, right? So if you have any things to ask, right, we will stop for a while.